And here we are once again. It has been a little bit because I got sidetracked by other video games. Hey guys, it's Skymer here, and welcome back to another episode of Triangle Strategy. In the last episode, we met the Roselle and went to the Rosellan village to help get Frederica's preferred wedding dress and her measurements for the dress. And Serenoa did nothing but explore in the meantime. We also got to learn that Roland's father, Ragnar, has asked him to overlook the mining efforts in the Norzelian Mines. So we are going to head straight there. But first, I want to go over something. We are going to learn or read something about the past of the Norzelia Consortium. So let's go ahead and do that. I like to occasionally have these little things, if you will, these little sections of reading time. Boy, is it going to be a lot of reading. After the Salt Iron War fought over Hyzan's sole ownership of salt, the Norzelia Consortium was established to oversee the equal distribution of salt and iron to the realm. The three nations brought together trade specialists to create this neutral and impartial organization as agreed upon in the Accords. The consortium's success in fair trade contributed greatly to the reconstruction of Norzelia, which had been ravaged by the war. The Kingdom of Glenbrook, rich in agriculture and fisheries, prospered due to the stable influx of salt from the consortium. The people were able to produce large quantities of salted meals, dried fish, dairy products, and more. Exports of these goods helped restore national power. Though it was thought to be the dawn of a new age for Norzelia, Hyzan began to strengthen its voice within the consortium as the reconstruction progressed. In Esfrost, on the other hand, the situation could not have been worse. Its already small population suffered the greatest number of casualties during the war, and reviving the iron industry was taking longer than anticipated. To make matters worse, salt prices soared within the duchy due to taxes and transportation fees from the distant Hyzand. Though iron exports were meant to balance salt imports, the nation's labor and iron shortage caused it to accrue a large trade deficit. Though the consortium was meant to adjust that imbalance, it did not take any drastic measures. Rather, it leaned more toward Hyzand in establishing salt as the main axis of trade. There are some who believe that the Hierophant, unable to accept that the war ended in a draw due to the injuries on all sides, had a hand in this, and wished Esfrost to take responsibility for the war. Though the truth is unknown, it is undeniable that Esfrost is the only nation at such a major disadvantage. The duchy's dissatisfaction naturally mounted, and a tension much like the one before the Salt Iron War descended upon Norzelia. A concerned King Ragnar and Simon Wolfort then summoned the other nations to participate in a joint mining venture at the Grand Norzelian Mines. Their aim was not only to ease the tension between the duchy and the Holy State, but also offer support for the former's iron industry and correct the trade imbalance between both nations. The entire realm watches this new venture with hopeful eyes, praying that it will finally create the much-needed balance between salt and iron and restore the original functions of the Norzelia Consortium. If it succeeds, then perhaps our realm will finally know peace, and the tragedies of the Salt Iron War will be a thing of the past. I have to say, there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to unpack. So blaming Esfrost for the war, we are definitely going to be studying a little bit about that in the Salt Iron War things, so we can learn about kind of the history that led up to the creation of the Norzelia Consortium. But to blame just one nation, when just like the Hierophant said, there were losses on both sides, I'm like, so you do realize that everyone's to blame, right? Everyone had casualties. Sure, you can blame the person who started it, but also if you're engaging in the very same thing that Esfrost apparently, quote-unquote, started, are you not responsible and liable for the same thing? That's my personal opinion. I think the Hyzant should be maybe not as much to blame in that case, if that is inherently true. But Hyzant should still take a portion of that blame and not just be like, oh no, we were attacked. So clearly we're the ones that are not responsible. And yet you killed soldiers of Frost as well. Bear in mind, you could view it as self-defense, but if they also did an attack back on them, then now that's the same thing. Alright, so without further hesitation, I do want to say that before this, there was a little bit of a recap that I wanted to continue. Dragan was in the mines with a lot of the mine workers, and they ended up discovering something mysterious in those mines, very, very deep within in the bedrock, that they had never expected to find. Something so great, something so amazing, to the point where Dragan would want to only smuggle it to Frost and to nowhere else. So let's see if we can get a little bit of more information by heading into the mines ourselves. House Wolfwort pays a visit to the Grand Norzelian Mines, where they are reunited with Dragan.
How will Gustadolf respond to my offer? I should think there's but one logical answer. Should he refuse for some reason, I will need Father's aid. I must apprise him of the situation.
Lord Dragan, Prince Roland is here from the Crown City.
What's this? Prince Roland and my friends of House Wolfwort. To what do I owe the honor?
Apologies for the sudden nature of our visit, Dragan. I have come on Father's orders to offer our sincere gratitude, as well as to observe the mining operation.
Splendid! The miners will no doubt be heartened by your Highness's presence.
Does the mining continue apace?
Indeed it does. There are no problems to report. And what of your trip abroad, Lord Serenoa?
It was most enlightening indeed. We even brought something for you. I do hope it's to your liking.
Authentic as frosty cheese. One of my favorites.
We thought you might be in need of a taste of your homeland after so much time away.
I have visions of this cheese in my sleep. You have no idea how happy this makes me.
It is enough to see you happy.
I am glad our deliberations were not in vain.
Dragan, I believe it was you who said the future is in the hands of the ardent youth. We are of like mind. Let us shape the future together.
Indeed. That future is close at hand. I suspect we will reach across the border and ask for your cooperation in due course.
And I shall gladly assent.
Yes, we eagerly await your offer. Now then, I was thinking I might examine the quarry.
Wait, Your Highness! One of the tunnels caved in but a few days ago. I would advise against entering just now.
Did you not assure us moments ago that the mining continues apace?
The miners are working to repair the damage as we speak. It is simply too soon to allow you inside.
Was it caused by a blast?
It was, in fact. We were perhaps a bit overzealous in attempting to remove some of the bedrock.
I had no idea your explosives were so powerful. How do you make them anyway?
I would love to tell you, Your Highness, but I'm afraid we must keep some of our secrets. What I can say is that salt is a vital ingredient.
Surely you jest.
I thought you'd be surprised. I could scarcely believe it myself at first. A gargantuan tome in the archives opened my eyes to the many uses for salt, beyond seasoning our daily dishes. And now I pass what I've learned to you, Lord Serenoa, as a token of my gratitude for your visit.
The power of salt.
'Tis a compendium of my research on the uses of salt. I encourage you to peruse it at your leisure.
I most certainly shall. 'Tis a most valuable gift.
Fascinating indeed. I too would like to read it when you are through, my lord.
I look forward to hearing your impressions.
At any rate, I see the sun hangs low. Shall we save a tour of the mine for the morrow?
Yes, perhaps that would be best.
Yes, of course. I shall prepare entertainment and lodgings for your party at once.
The mines appear to be operating apace. Perhaps I'll survey the operation more closely until my bedding is ready. Alright, now first of all, we all know that's a lie that Dragan is saying. We know this information. He is definitely lying when he says that, oh, just a sudden collapse of the tunnel. Definitely protecting what is in there because he knows that if he wants it only to go to Esfrost, neither of the other two nations can know. So let's go ahead and see what these people have to say. I've come to deliver lunch to my husband and his fellow miners. They eat like horses, and I still manage to make too much. Hello, Gila, best unit.
Esfrost is hard at work building a rail car that will transport the ore we take from the mines. Can you imagine how much more efficient that will make the process?
I can see definitely in that evolution sense there. There is definitely an item in here that I want, and I kind of know where it is, so I'm excited to grab it. We need to talk about it too. We'll be sending the iron we mine here to the consortium. They'll want to account for it all as they do with salt and all else. The mine here is under the jurisdiction of, Claris. Never met a thing you couldn't sell, that one. Man, and they talk about Gusadolf having a silver tongue, huh? I was right to come with you. I do believe we succeeded in lowering Dragan's guard. There's something up there, which I need to get to. Hello, Frederica.
It gladdens me to see a healthy contingent of miners from the Duchy alongside your brethren from Glenbrook.
It is really, really unexpected to see these two actually, like, getting along. Especially considering how our introductions, quote-unquote, went with, Thalos and Erica. Lord Dragan's father, Minister Svarog, is as capable a man as the Archduke himself. By all rights, he should be the nation's prime minister, and yet he's performing glorified border duty in the middle of nowhere. I can't imagine he's happy about it. Svarog. That's Frederica's uncle. If Minister Svarog is indeed as capable as this miner would have me believe, how did he end up steward of Twinsgate? The plot thickens as we learn about Svarog Esfrost a little bit more. The previous Archduke's younger brother, Svarog, is a man capable enough to be the nation's prime minister, but after losing to his nephew Gusadolf in a power struggle, he was ordered to the duchy's border to oversee its defense. Nothing more than a symbolic sinecure. It's terrible. We don't really know the depths of how that happened, but it doesn't really matter about the depths. It just mattered that that's what indeed happened. It must have been a hard journey to get here. The roads to the mine aren't exactly well worn. Watch your step as you return home, my lord. Thank you. Oh, of course we're going to save those for last. And I think Dragan's going to be one of the final people that we talk to as well. A stone. Who would have imagined a rock being in a mine, am I right? How insane.
I understand a few fights broke out between the miners of Esfrost and Glenbrook at first, but such is bound to happen when two nations come together. Thankfully, they've learned to communicate, and now everything is progressing apace.
I feel like that's what they want us to think. Huette?
The mine itself is larger than I imagined. I believe my hawk could fly cleanly through its tunnels.
Now that's an interesting observation from Huette there, because I think in the last episode there actually was a hawk that was taken as a messenger bird to the Esfrost capital, and Dragan gave it this little note to send to Gusadolf. And so that's very interesting that that is something that people are actually witnessing. I've been teaching the others when I gleaned from all that reading I did in the archives. We'll master the S-Frosty techniques, my lord. There's no shortage of practice down in the mines. It's hard labor, mining. I'll tell you, I don't see a man here I wouldn't want for my own army if it came to it. That's very true. I think that I commented on this on my last playthrough, but miners can get some biceps. Well-developed ones at that.
We're paid for the iron we mine, so I had better break off a big chunk of ore. Or better yet, find a rich vein.
Alright, so let's head up here. You know, as soon as I can find a way up. There we go. That would help. Only miners past this point, sir. We're clearing rubble from a collapsed tunnel. The rest of it may be unstable as a result. We cannot risk letting anyone through. I believe this is it. Yep. The Vanguard Scarf. This item is single-handedly probably one of the best items in the game. The Vanguard Scarf guarantees a first action at the start of battle. So in the next battle, whoever equips this will instantly go first. So I think we're going to give this to Benedict. This is a strategy of mine personally. I love to give it to him because he can buff the stats of someone right out the gate. Benedict usually goes fairly like middle ground in the turn, but now he's obviously going to be going a little bit a lot earlier now. And we just got this recruitment notice. In need of miners. Description: excavation work at the Grand Norzelian Mines. Experience preferred, but not required. Hazard wages included. Hone yourself into a blade to protect the Grand Duchy. So they're actually... So I think when we went to Esfos, they were also recruiting for the army. So they're even doing that here in the mines. That's kind of crazy. Ironsmiths wanted. As a prerequisite, applicants must have a mastery level ironworking skill. Successful hires agreed to keep all work confidential. Wages are equal to the level of skill. Bonuses possible. How does that make any sense? How does your wage equal your level of skill when mastery level should be its own level? If you're only recruiting people of one level of skill because it's mastery only, because they must have it, that doesn't make any sense. Low risk, high wage, position open, goods shipment. Same day payment, enough money. Yeah, so a lot of that is the same. So I don't know if someone brought that with them from Esfrost, or maybe that was like, oh, if you went to Hyzant, well, you can still learn about what shenanigans are occurring in Esfrost. But that whole thing about keeping the ironwork stuff confidential, that's a little shady to me. Don't you think? Alright, Benedict, you're up first. Despite the explosives collapsing one of the tunnels, mining appears to be on schedule. Running a mine, let alone one owned by 3 nations, is no easy task. The lack of unrest is a credit to Lord Dragan's leadership. To that end, indulge me with a hypothetical. Suppose you led this operation and an incident occurred. How would you respond? Seeing as it's a joint accord, I would resolve the matter peacefully with Hyzant and Esfrost's involvement. I would hear the problems firsthand from the miners themselves. Issuing orders blindly from above leads to chaos. I would order an investigation into the cause and find the party or parties responsible. There must be no cause for bad blood between our nations. So, I don't like this answer because if all 3 nations got involved, they would all point fingers at each other. If there is as much discord from these 3 nations as what's been indicated, it doesn't make sense that just because it's a joint accord to get everyone involved. Because I feel like it's just going to be maybe people will get hurt, maybe people won't get hurt. but it doesn't matter because I feel like arguments are going to ensue. I believe this was my answer last time, but I also think I wanted to see his answer to this, because I also really like this answer. If we can find the person that was responsible through investigation, sure, it leads to the effect that someone could get mad, but it doesn't directly just involve everyone having their own opinion. If you can find who's responsible, now you're stating with facts, not opinions. A fine answer. Sniff out the cause and you stand to prevent it from happening again. All three nations have a vested interest in the mine's success, and must therefore be equally held to account for their actions. Indeed, we have much to gain from this venture, but it's a fragile thing that requires constant vigilance. And there should be another... Is Benedict's the only one? Usually there's two, that's only why I'm saying that. But I guess, yeah, that is the only person with a green explanation. Okay. Exclamation, not explanation. I will be right back after I do one quick look around real quick. Oh, we didn't talk to Dragan, did we? What am I doing? The future is what we make of it, Lord Serenoa. May the partnership with your house prove long and fruitful. As I see it, the mines are merely the beginning. We have much work to do, and I pray I can count on your assistance going forward. With all pleasure and honor. Okay, I do believe we are all good. I don't see anywhere else to analyze, and we got the Vanguard scarf, so that was the most important thing. So, let us proceed to what happens after the fact. Everything appears in order, as I expected. Perhaps my bedding is ready by now. Guess bedtime will have to wait, as a battle is the thing that we're gonna do before nap time. So, I need to still prepare for this because I still haven't trained very much. I mean, most of my units are the recommended level already, but I want to make sure that everyone's ready. And hopefully Gila won't faint this time. That would be ideal to keep my healer around for this fight. Believe me, I'm gonna need her. This was Skymer, and I hope that you guys all have a fantastic day. Bye, guys.